Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have for you the experts panel discussion on the topic health, a holistic understanding. Tonight's illustrious panel features some of the brightest minds in the space of health and well-being, who will share their perspectives and create new possibilities for each one of us in the area of health.
We would like to invite on stage Mr. Naman Bhanushali to welcome our panelists. Leading this, what promises to be a thought-provoking and wonderful discussion, is our moderator and my good friend, Dr. Prem Thapar. Prem is an award-winning Maxillofacial Prosthodontist and implantologist. He is the recipient of the prestigious Charak Award. He is a prolific contributor to illustrious scientific journals as an editor and a reviewer. But most importantly, he has personally designed some of the beautiful smiles in this room, including my lovely wife's. Please welcome Dr. Prem Thapar.
That's really amazing, Sujay. All right. Now we welcome to the stage our first panelist, Mr. Benhur Rao. He is the CEO and founder of ACADELO, the Academy for Leadership and Development.
Our second panelist this evening is Ms. Vidhi Bubna. She is an award-winning journalist and the founder of Everest Communications, a dynamic branding and strategy agency in Mumbai.
Our third panelist is Dr. Adwait Padhye, MD, DPM. Mr. Padhye is the founder, trustee and president of Moderator Trust, which works in the area of mental health.
And our fourth and final panelist is Mr. Rishi Nagar. He is the founder and director of Fantastic Health, an AI-first health tech company. Let's give them all a big round of applause, and over to you, Prem.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Prem. We'll have a panel discussion where we're going to discuss about health. We're all coming from different walks of life. Just to give you a very brief overview, we have someone that's coming from journalism, that's Vidhi. We have someone that's coming from an app, an AI-generated an app that checks about your metabolic reports, gives you an overview of the data. That's Mr. Rishi. We have someone who's a doctor as well, that's Dr. Adwait. He's a psychiatrist that he's working with. He's also owning an NGO where he helps, people from different walks of life. And we also have Mr. Benhur Rao. He's a life coach. And so just to give you an idea of what we will be discussing today is that I want to share a personal anecdote with you guys. One of it is, when we are experiencing life in general, there are times where we have certain amount of disputes with someone that's close to us. So I want you all to go back to that time where you had a personal dispute with some of your lover or your mom or your dad. And that very moment, how do you feel? You feel your heart racing. You feel that there is something personally wrong with you, physically wrong with you. Might not be something that might show up on your reports, but it's something that's definitely wrong with you. That's something to do with your health, right? So I want to take this day to tell you all that when you feel that you confront that person, whoever that might be for you, you go to them, you tell them how you feel, you seek for forgiveness, you forgive them, and you feel instantly better. Your gut feels better, your heart health feels better, your BP feels better, you're not anxious anymore. So definitely whatever we are talking about today has a broader perspective to health. So since health is changing, I want to ask you all, shouldn't our conversations around health also change? That is what we are here for today. So I'll be starting the panel discussion. What we will do is I will ask each one of our panelists one question each. So they can give their inputs about how they deal with that question in general. And if anyone from the audience also has something to put in, I'll pass on the mic to the audience as well at the end. Okay? So the first question is for Mr. Rao. Mr. Rao is, as I mentioned, a life coach as well. So I would like to ask you, Mr. Rao, in your journey from the corporate world to life coaching, how have you seen the practice of forgiveness, both to oneself and to others, empower individuals to move past the setbacks and to achieve growth?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Thapar. That was a long question. So, thank you everyone for being here and listening to me at this stage. What I would like to say here is, I just want to give an example first. It's an incident that happened in 1988 at the Olympic Games. We had an American diver called Greg Louganis, a very famous diver, a favorite to win the event. And what happened was, during the dive, the initial stages, the first round, he hit his head on the diving board. When he hit his head, his scalp actually split. And there was obviously a lot of bleeding, and he had many stitches on his head. So his coach told him, that's over. I mean, it's better to rest, go to the hospital and stay there. He said, no, I want to get back to the event. So he came to the event and the coach said, okay, before you make your next dive, let me show the video of your mistake. Okay, a very logical thing, right? So that you can correct it. But what did he do? He said, no, I don't want to see the video. So he went into something called as visualization and positive visualization, to visualize what he's going to do now, how he's going to take the dive, and forget about what happened in the past. So basically, he forgave himself for my mistake. I forgive myself for my mistake. I want to move ahead and move ahead and move ahead into an event and which he finally won the gold medal. Okay, even though he was trailing, he caught up with the others over subsequent dives. He went on to win 4 gold medals across 2 Olympic Games. So what does this show us? It shows us that first we have to accept, okay, we made a mistake, it's over, it's done with, done and dusted. Let's move forward. So this is what many people fail. They get stuck, "Arey, ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya," you know, we cannot do it anymore. We can't proceed further. So this is the first step, is to forgive yourself for the mistake, move forward, and do what you believe in. Because each one of us have been trained for something or the other. Every one of us has some greatness in us. And that greatness is going to influence a lot of people. So we move forward, and he did it. So he succeeded. So that was the story. So what I would like to say is the actionable steps for us would be, first is to forgive ourselves, forgive the others also. In this case, it didn't happen, but many cases, we fail to forgive others. And as has been mentioned in the earlier lectures by Dr. Luskin, forgiveness. So we carry the burden. So offload the burden. You'll be freer. You'll be able to talk to people who were, you know, I would say, out of bounds for you. You can go back to them. And when you try that action, it surprises people. Okay, one quick episode, if I have 1 minute more. Okay, so there was this, it happened to me, and we find it difficult to forgive, you know, that while I was traveling today, I saw a biker cross across the road. The driver was driving the car, of course. So he got very angry. Okay, the biker made the mistake, and this happens every day. So I said, leave it, let it go. Chhod do usko, jaane do. And we actually do not forgive people. We start abusing people. According to Dr. T.B. Keller, a famous psychologist from the US, he says people react in 3 ways to stress. One is through anger, which is very typical. Second is through going into their shell. And third is by abusing people. So this is not forgiveness. So this is what we need to do, forgive people so that we can move forward in our life. So does this answer the question?
Most definitely. I think what I took away from today's lecture was one line which Dr. Laskin said, which was that when you forgive someone, you are actually growing. So most of the times we are actually having stunted growth is because we are not forgiving people. We're not giving ourselves that chance to grow. So I think most definitely we all have to forgive someone, that most probably ourselves, to go ahead and grow. So that definitely answers the question. Thank you. So moving on the same lines, I would like to ask Vidhi that you're a journalist. When you report things, when you look at the world in general right now, the world politics that's going on, the war that's going on, how do you how do you deal with the amount of how do you practice things like acceptance, forgiveness, all of this, and you deal with that, and how does it play a role in building a proper rebuilding these societies that are torn apart by war or by political struggles?
That's a great question. So, forgiveness, I believe, does not only play at the individual level, it also plays at the national and the global level. And every time we read an article in the media about war going on in some part of the world or countries fighting against each other, we must realize that programs like Program for Life, if world leaders actually started doing those programs and engaging in forgiveness, the world could be a better place for all of us. And then it's not just me practicing forgiveness with my family or with my friend, you know. It can also be the prime minister of a country who's practicing forgiveness against past crimes which must have taken place in the country. And we see that with Germany, like a past leader in Germany stood up and on a global stage she actually asked for forgiveness for the crimes which were committed by Adolf Hitler towards Jews living in the country. And that must be so freeing for Jews who were living there, right? And who must have heard that speech. So I think forgiveness can be used to build a better society overall because it helps to give the power to people to choose. And the choice is between holding a grudge versus letting go. And a lot of the media articles and the way media covers events today is very sensational and very biased because as they say, you know, blood sells and war sells. But the whole idea is that maybe we should stop fueling it and look at things from a more peaceful perspective and look at rebuilding these broken societies. Because how many times in the last whole year have we read about Gaza or seen Gaza on social media or places like Instagram and then thought about, you know, how forgiveness, acceptance, gratitude can come into play in these situations. So, as a journalist, of course, you know, since we're here, we're talking about the Victim Manicum Knowledge Group. It would also be great to explore how forgiveness plays on a global stage and between world leaders and between leaders and their communities and how leaders can set an example using forgiveness.
Beautiful. That's beautifully answered, Vidhi.
Thank you.
The next question is for Dr. Adwait. On the similar lines, I would like to ask you that you deal with a lot of patients that are struggling with their mental health, not just coming from a background where they might have dementia or they might have a certain condition such as Parkinson's or schizophrenia, but when you deal with their families in general, for them to deal with that forgiveness, for them to deal with that sort of situation, how do you help them when you deal with them?
Nice question. See, forgiveness, as even Dr. Raskin said just now, it requires a courage, and there is a Sanskrit shlok is there. Kshama bala shaktanam, shaktanam bhushanam kshamacha. Means ki kshama to forgive requires a lot of courage and it requires a lot of strength. So what is that strength? Strength that will come from the rational thinking. Your thinking, how you look at it, how you look at the problem. Okay, so if you think about it in a rationally, so when you accept it, as Dr. Rao also said, when you accept the situation, ki okay, my relative or my son or my whoever is a family member is suffering from such and such illness. So, like accepting it, that will mean firstly will help you to look at it in a scientific way, because any illness has it's a biopsychosocial model, whether it's a Parkinson's, whether it's a dementia, or whether it is anxiety or depression. Because anxiety, depression has got neurochemical changes. It can come because of the hormonal changes. So there are some things beyond my control and there are some things within my control. So what can I do now? when we accept it first, then the next thinking comes like, what can I do now? When I accepted it, what can I do now? So what can I do now is like treating, taking the patient to the doctor, treating that thing. Then along with that, what are the other sources? What are the other mechanisms that can help me to help my patient? Or even what are the mechanisms, what are the other therapies which are there, which are useful for my patient? So like in schizophrenia, or there are rehabilitation processes are there, like not only the medications, but the family counseling, or the daycare rehabilitation, in-house rehabilitation, even like support groups for the family members, that also helps. So when we accept the illness as it is, that my family member has got such and such illness, then the next process starts, that factors within my control. So these are the factors which are within my control. So I must act upon that. And when this process starts, so you start understanding the benefits of that, and you don't curse. Like when you don't accept the illness, then you start cursing the fortunes or whatever, your luck and everything. But that is not going to, that is a factor which is beyond your control. It will not be any time in your control. So when you accept that, so then you naturally you start forgiving yourself and forgiving the whatever which is beyond your control. And then that forgiveness will lead you to the acceptance of the situation and acceptance of the illness.
Correct.
Okay.
So I think this perfectly highlights the Shine Knowledge series, the program for life. The module is divided as you start with realizing that there is a problem. You realize or reflect on the problem. The next step to the module or the course is that you start having forgiveness. You start forgiving people and yourself first. Then you move on to accepting where you are in life right now, and after which you feel the gratitude. So it perfectly aligns with the course module as well. Very beautifully said, Doctor. The next panelist is Rishi. Rishi, I am so I was speaking to Rishi earlier, and he was telling me how he has a pharma background and he has completely shifted from, he had a lot of doctor friends, and he, all of his friends, he has created an app or a dashboard where you can have AI generated, bio AI generated metabolic reports. So one of the best things about it is that it tells you what is wrong with you and the inference to it. Most of the reports that we receive right now are understood by doctors. But what about the patient who's suffering from that? Do you understand your reports? I don't think most of us do. Like why do we have high blood pressure, or why do we have a certain metabolic change in our body? And what is the inference of that? So I think the Fitnastic app, the Fitnastic gives us a perfect overview of that. On that, I would like to just ask you, Rishi, if we integrate things like forgiveness or acceptance, or our stress activities, our sleep cycles, or our hormonal changes which might affect our moods. So if we could have, wearables where they can watch, or any device that tells you how you're feeling today, or probably based on your markers or your reports or your blood pressure or your heart rate, on how you must be feeling, and urging us to reflect on that. Do you think something like this could be possible?
So yeah, it's practically possible. Acceptance lead to forgiveness. So if you accepted that you had a pizza last night, so you can easily forgive yourself, right? So when it comes to stress markers, when it comes to hormone markers, there is a specific hormone called cortisol. It's a stress hormone. But whenever we usually go for the blood test, or whenever we are going for a full body checkup, we usually don't get cortisol tested. But there is a strong influence of your cortisol stress marker, which leads to the kind of lifestyle that you have chosen. So usually that's why we push people to get the blood markers tested. So if everything is fine, if everything is perfect, it's totally like you don't have to worry. Everyone doesn't have to have 8-pack abs like Hrithik Roshan, right? So, but if you have a borderline cholesterol, or if your cholesterol or if your cortisol levels are high, you need to think about a kind of recipe of improvement, because the recipe of improvement will move to a kind of longevity, and longevity will move to a prevention, then you don't have to spend millions to reverse your age. Right? You can have a great gala dinner after this event. You can have guilt-free gajar halwa. So just make sure that you get your hormones tested. Cortisol is one, and for females specifically, there are hormones like LHFSH, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, and also prolactin and HOMA-IR, which actually helps you and helps your medical experts to identify whether you are suffering from any lifestyle issues like PCOS, PCOD, or any thyroid kind of problems.
Perfectly put. I would like to ask on those line, doctor, if you you're a psychiatrist and if you receive reports where you're able to understand these metrics about the stress markers, about the daily what they are feeling, their emotions, or some sort of information on that, would that help you diagnose a patient better and treat them better?
Yes, sure. See, we have, means even in psychiatry, we have some psychological tests are also there, even like other blood tests and MRI and everything. From that angle, we understand any physical factor is responsible for the symptoms which we have, the patient is presenting. But for the psychological understanding, we have many tests are available like MCMI, MMPI. So it's like a questionnaire test, paper pencil tests are there, and through which we can understand the patient in a better way. There are so if you are solving the question, sometimes the person may randomly give answers, or sometimes the person who is depressed, he will present himself unknowingly as I'm such in a bad state, or somebody who is in a denial, he will portray himself as I'm okay. So, but there are validity scales are there in that test, so through which we can understand whether the patient has faked good or faked bad, or the solved the test honestly or not.
Correct, correct.
So, and then there are the clinical scales are there, and the personality scales are there. So we understand the full picture, like clinical syndrome, which is there, whether it's anxiety, whether it's a depression, whether it's a bipolar disorder, or it's a schizophrenia, or and which personality pattern is responsible, whether the person is a borderline personality, or whether the person is a paranoid personality, whether so all that personality pattern, so which personality pattern is causing this syndrome, that also we can understand. And this perspective helps us in treating the patient in a clinical way, the psychotherapy sessions and
very perfectly put. Yeah, I agree. And also, I had taken a test on the Victim Manikam Knowledge Group has a test called the personality assessment test, and it was so beautiful. And it, one of the works of that test is health that we are discussing today. There's relationships and how it affects your personality in general.
So it's very true that we need to look at health in a more holistic way. On that note, I would like to ask Vidhi that you have done the program for life. How has it changed, the way you deal with life in general, the way you deal with, a bad day, or you deal with, a bad conversation with someone? Has that changed how you see life? Has that brought empathy into your life?
So I would say that Shine Program for Life is one of those programs which you need, and you don't realize how much you need it till you actually do it. So I got into the program with very little expectations of, what the program's going to be like and what the trajectory is going to be like. But my life coach during the program, Anuj Sethi, and I know he's watching from Germany, the program with him was entirely life-changing, because we often hear of these words, we hear about forgiveness, gratitude, acceptance, but rarely ever do we go into the depth of what these words mean. Like even during the talk by Dr. Luskin today, it was interesting that he mentioned forgiveness so much, but we don't know how to forgive, Today, if we go and say, okay, someone's done something wrong to you, go and forgive them. But how do you forgive? And during the program, I learned, Anuj, my mentor, he taught me that forgiveness is actually a tool. And there is a way in which you can practice forgiveness, like it's a 3-step way. First, you need to forgive the other person for whatever wrong they have done to you, or the way you perceive that, they've done some wrong to you. And the second step would be to ask for their forgiveness, because if you think someone's done something wrong to you, you might have reacted in a certain way or made a certain decision which would have hurt them as well. And beyond that, you need to forgive yourself, because you held that against them for so long, right? Your own hurt is actually hurting you, and maybe the other person didn't intend to hurt you at all. So during Program for Life, I realized there are tools for all of these different elements of our life which are so crucial, which we actually practice on a daily basis subconsciously, be it forgiveness, gratitude, acceptance, or self-realization. And it goes without saying that we're all ill-equipped. Today, we're sitting here in this room talking about forgiveness. We might think we know a thing or two, but we actually need experts to be teaching us, right? It's just like any other skill. I won't say forgiveness is something which is interpersonal. I would actually say it's very much a skill which needs to be learned. And Program for Life is an educational course which we all need to engage in to practice life better. So I cannot stress on the importance and the impact that PFL has had on me. And I'm really grateful to the Victor Manicum Knowledge Group for creating this beautiful program which makes me feel much more confident about myself and the way I go about my tasks. And I still won't say that I'm out there and I've completely done it. I think PFL, and I keep saying this to my mentor Anuj as well, I think PFL is a program which you can do every 5 years, every 10 years, and get a different perspective of your life overall, and it gives you a lot of clarity. So, I mean, I could go on and on about this if you want, but because it's an amazing program.
Very well put. I think the biggest takeaway from today for all of us would be that we all know that we need to realize that there is a problem, one. We need to accept that, you know, this problem is there. We need to forgive ourselves and the other person. But I think we all don't know how to do that. So we need someone to guide us to do that, right? So, right? Yes? Yeah, so we definitely have a tool. We have the data here. So I think all of us through this panel discussion today, I want all of you all to pick up the manuals, pick up a book that you might see lying around over there, scan your barcodes on this, understand what we are offering today, so that we are giving you the tool to go and actually forgive someone, forgive yourself, to accept things, to actually lead a more holistic life, to improve your health in general. So let this panel discussion today be a evidence for you that you have the tool with you. You have to go and just explore it. Okay? Alright. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you to the panelists.
Thank you, Prem, and thank you to our panelists. That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives, and it was lovely to hear from you. I just request you to stay on stage for just a little bit, because now we would like to take forward a few things for us. First up, I think now what I would like to do is we would like to present the awards and recognition for the evening, and that's why I've asked our panelists to stay on stage. And after that, we would like to hear from Mr. Victor Manicum for the founder's address.
All right, so Sujay, it's moment of celebration, and keeping the theme for tonight, we would like to recognize some extraordinary individuals who have truly excelled this year. As Victor Manicum Knowledge Group completes 15 years, we would like to acknowledge the past year and the people who have significantly contributed to making the year that it was.
To present the awards for PFL Learner of the Year, I request Ms. Vidhi Bubna to do the honors. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I missed one very important thing, and that is to felicitate our wonderful panelists. I'd invite Mr. Naman Bhanushali. Naman, please, thank you, and please felicitate our wonderful panelists for the evening.